Hello, everyone, and welcome to the House of Reels podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Shawn.
My name is Alex.
And my name is Adrian. Here at the House of Reels, we're going to be over here talking about movies, pop culture, entertainment, all that nice good stuff that's going on around the entertainment field of the world.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode.
Hello.
Guys, been a while. We had a big hiatus.
We had a little hiatus. I swear we were totally busy that hiatus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were super busy.
Busy for this very special episode.
Mm-hmm.
Very special
today.
Yeah, man. The most
we're reviewing
important
the Batman.
We're reviewing the Batman. So before we go any further, just saying it right now, spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning. Big spoiler warning. Okay, for anyone that hasn't watched it,
huge
plans on watching.
There it is.
Very big spoiler warnings.
Plans on watching it.
There it is.
I suggest you click away from this podcast right now if you have any hopes of watching the Batman movie. Okay, but leave a like though. Leave a like and a comment. Act like you watched it. Okay, share it, and then then you can click off
and put your thoughts on it. This movie's putting a lot of thoughts into it. Yeah.
So,
but without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first. I mean, man, this movie. I don't know about you guys, but from the very beginning, when I saw Gotham and it was like sweating and it was like, so claustrophobic, the cinematography, the lighting, I was like, this is not just like previous movies where it was like a little too cartoony, or like this is just here's New York. It's like, man, this is a messed up city. This city is like, I feel like I'm gonna get shot any second.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This is the first one you really look at and you're like, bro,
you're like, ew.
This is Batman in a city. Like, how can he be everywhere at once? Like, this city's humongous. It's dark. There's stuff happening over here and over here. This is the one that you feel like, okay, Batman is really taking on an entire city by himself.
Mm-hmm. A young Batman.
It was amazing, man. Exactly. This is year 2 Batman.
Yeah, it's year 2 Batman. Yeah, he's still in his second year, and he's aware. I love how there's like a narration, and that narration is actually him writing his thoughts on a little notebook, the Gotham Project, he called it. Mm-hmm. And he's like narrating about how he's not actually physically there, but he has become the shadows, and it's like this phenomenal masterpiece of a scene of like him looking into like these criminals once they see the Bat logo in the sky, and then they look forward and they're like looking at shadows. They're like, oh my gosh, Batman might be there to beat my ass or something. Like, just that element of fear. I was afraid of Batman for that few seconds. I don't know about you guys. Did you guys feel afraid? Like
a little bit.
Yeah.
Try not to do anything sneaky around him.
Yeah. Hey man, that was probably, in terms of cinematography, the cinematic universe of Batman, probably the best depiction so far, I would say. First off, it was raining all the time, okay? Depression factor, sadness factor, misery factor goes up 100% whenever it rains all the time. Okay, it was always raining. It was always dark. And, man, honestly, that narration where it was him writing in his journal, I thought that was a really well-needed piece into the movie because it kind of set the scene for the movie. I think a great thing that they added was what you said, Adrian, where it was like, where he said, I can't be everywhere at once, but fear is like my weapon of choice, basically. Like fear is what I use to make it feel like exactly. I thought that was amazing. On top of other things about the movie was amazing, but to start off, the depiction of Gotham was great. I loved it a lot.
Yeah, the world building, the idea that this is a city that's supposedly in modern time, and yet it feels so underfunded, so underdeveloped.
Corrupt.
Clearly feel every corrupt sense of. I got a little angry in that film, but not angry at the film, but like angry of like, I look at these corrupt people and I'm like, man, these people are real, like these jerks.
Yeah. It definitely, in that sense, it felt real. It felt like very much like a place that you could actually like be in. Because usually when you see superhero movies, you're like, like it's just fiction. But here it was like, okay, like the whole Justice Department is corrupt. Everybody's corrupt. Everybody's in the pocket of Falcone and stuff like that. It was great, man. I honestly, I can't wait to talk more about this movie. I love the movie. It was awesome.
No, please keep going, keep going. I don't know.
Because honestly, when you look at it, man, like the Justice League, if you look at the Snyder Cut version, it kind of had like a different feel of like the towns that they were in or the cities. But this takes it to a completely new level. It was almost like they use like an anamorphic lens. So like they were hazing on the outsides.
Yeah.
So whatever was in focus,
middle,
you could see. But I just thought that idea right there alone, like from the beginning of the movie, when I think the Riddler is looking down on the mayor, right?
Yeah. That was a great opening scene, by the way. Great opening scene.
Amazing.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
Like, what was a better scene, The Dark Knight or this opening in terms of the bank robbing scene?
Oof,
I just think that
a debate to get into.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Because when the movie started, did you guys know that was the Riddler? Like, did you think that was maybe Batman with like a low tech?
I did. I
thought it was
Batman at first.
I thought it was Batman, and what made me think it was Batman was because he looked at the kid and he saw the parents, and I felt it. Like, actions speak louder than words. Show don't tell. But like him seeing a kid with his parents and playing around is like, I thought it was Batman reminiscing on like, I was a kid. I had my parents. I used to go to Halloween and have fun, and that was taken away from me. But by the way, I've seen the movie 3 times, so
yeah, I could see it a few more times.
Yeah, really? You both seen it 3 times?
No, I've seen it once only.
Okay,
I saw it 3 times. So take my word, I remember scenes like crazy. But what I realized, obviously, because as the movie progresses, we find out the Riddler was an orphan who was never treated right, a very poor orphan in a very nasty place that was underfunded, and his whole hatred is because of Bruce Wayne. When he became an orphan, he was rich though, so he had notoriety, whereas Riddler and all the other orphans, they never had that love, they never had that attention, and he wanted that attention and love. I see now that when I see the beginning scene, it's Riddler looking at a kid having everything he ever wanted, which was a loving parent and everything. And he takes a moment, I think, to just look at that for just a minute. He's jealous of that kid. He's envious that kid had what he never could. And then obviously he looks out the window. Then he proceeds to do his act of killing, which was filmed like a horror scene of like, my goodness, like the way they just did it. And once you watch the movie like 3 times, you see everything. He killed the mayor with the carpeting tool, the carpet tool. It's like he planned every little single thing from the very beginning. Man, this.
So,
guys, bro, honestly, you can go ahead, Alex.
Actually, I kind of wanted to get into just every aspect of the movie with you guys after Shawn gives his thoughts. If you want, I wanted to go straight from what you guys thought of the characters. What do you guys think about the movie in general? And what do you guys think could happen next? I wanted to get into that after you say your piece right now, Shawn.
All right, let's get into Batman. Well, really, Robert Pattinson nailing down Batman. I thought he did a really good job as Batman. I really do. I think that the approach to not use the you know what I'm saying? Let's go.
Voice cancer.
I feel like exactly. I feel like it was a really good choice just to use like a different voice. Now I feel like when you look at how menacing Batman was and how he didn't have to talk a lot, this was probably a better portrayal of Batman. But when I look at Bruce Wayne, I have my moments when I like the direction they took and moments that I didn't. I feel like at the very beginning, I couldn't really hear his character as well. I feel like, I don't know if that was like an audio thing or if that's just how they wanted it to be. I felt like him and Batman didn't have like gears, if that's the right thing. Yeah. I feel like the way he played Batman is kind of the way that he tried to play Bruce Wayne. even though like I think that Bruce Wayne probably should have been a more, I know he's a broken character, like this is the type of Bruce Wayne they tried to portray, but I feel like maybe you could have added a little bit more onto him to make him feel more of like a Bruce Wayne, I guess. I don't know. Like even when you look at the animated series, like he has a little bit more personality. I feel like this one he did a little bit, but I don't know. I just felt like he was kind of more broken the entire movie. And I don't know if like if they do sequels, if they'll like add on to his personality a little bit more. But yeah, I did like it. I liked it a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I would tackle Batman. If you guys want to jump in.
I would say Robert Pattinson did a flip over of what most Batman actors do, which is most Batman actors, they kind of have the Bruce Wayne factor nailed down, you know, the whole playboy philanthropist, you know, like handsome guy. But whether or not they play Batman correctly is always hit or miss. For some people, it's like, oh, you know, I remember like back when Ben Affleck was a very skeptical Batman before we saw the movies of him. I remember everyone was like, oh, he's going to play Bruce Wayne just fine. He's got the look. He's, you know, he can do the whole look and the whole acting of Bruce Wayne, but we don't know if he's going to play Batman. I feel that Robert Pattinson did absolute opposite here, where he nailed Batman. Like when he was wearing that suit, when the way he approached enemies, the way he did the detective work, I felt like I was genuinely looking at Batman, like from the comics and the animated series. I felt that. I was like, man, this is Batman. He's right here in front of my face. For Bruce Wayne, the thing is, there's kind of two Bruce Waynes. Do you know what I mean, Shawn? There's the mask.
Elaborate on him.
Yeah, like there's the playboy philanthropist, like handsome guy who's like, you know, he's just rich and, you know, he's just whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's the real, genuine, broken human being. I think Robert Pattinson did a really good job by showing that broken side of Bruce Wayne, who's like, he's traumatized by his parents. He's, you know, a broken man. He has trust issues. He doesn't know how to present his love to Alfred, which I think this movie did a pretty good job at least presenting that, showing their arguments, showing his difficulty of accepting Alfred as a father figure, because if he does, he's gonna live that moment again of losing someone he loves. But yeah, there was like zero moment of like him trying to pretend to be handsome and happy and like, you know, this rich guy. You know, when he goes to an event, a public event, and he dresses up, he doesn't even comb his hair. He still has a frown. He doesn't even look at people. He doesn't wave. You know, every other Batman actor has really tried to nail Bruce Wayne's factor, that duality. And Robert Pattinson tried to do just, this is a very broken man who, even in public eye, he doesn't care. He even says at the beginning of the movie, I don't care about that. I don't care what happens to my name. If my job as Batman doesn't work, then I really don't care what happens to me. It's kind of this sense of, he really nailed the idea that Bruce Wayne is the mask, but Batman is the true person. But he didn't go into the Bruce Wayne. But granted, this movie is like 95% Batman and 5% Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, Alex, you gonna catch him on this?
Man, I agree pretty much with what Adrian said, but I do have one. It's a question though. Do you guys think that maybe, because remember, and as we all know, this is Batman like in year 2, you know, so he's kind of struggling to balance, you know, being Bruce Wayne, a socially acceptable Bruce Wayne, we'll call it, and being like Batman, you know, maybe at this point, you know, because it is year 2, the two of them are so like, that line is so blurred between Batman and Bruce Wayne that he kind of has a hard time dividing the two. At least that's how I saw it, how I thought about it afterwards. You know, because I did see that he was, you know, he was a bit more reserved. He was pretty much a hermit. Like, he didn't go outside. Remember when he went to the funeral, everyone was like, "Oh, it's Bruce Wayne. What are you doing here?" You know, and that's how I saw it for me. But in terms of his like portrayal as Batman, it was great. I love how he didn't force the raspy voice. It was amazing. I'm sure his vocal cords thanked him for that. But yeah, his interpretation of Batman was probably, man, I don't know if it's just recency bias right now, but it's probably my favorite right now. Just because
it's still my favorite. Like, even after what I said. I don't know about you, Shawn.
All right.
Yeah, as Batman, I feel like, yeah, bro. Like, He was
Okay,
good. He
right?
was really good,
Because
man.
I feel like, and like Adrian said, it's like as close to Batman in the comics as you're gonna get. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely. With the point of view and the narration, it's like this is a Batman film. This isn't a,
Mhm.
like, for example, Dark Knight. It's like it's mostly a Joker film. It's like no, this is
Mhm.
about Bruce Wayne and Batman, like
Mhm.
on an emotional level.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Batman being a detective, actually doing some detective work. I was so happy to see that. I was like, man, this
Yeah.
is so awesome because in the animated series and in the Justice League, we see how amazing, of a detective he is. And
Mhm.
now just seeing it like, I don't know why, just seeing it like in real time, seeing it in a film, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like seeing him have like this basically mental warfare with the Riddler and stuff like that going throughout the whole time. And it even showed like his vulnerability as a detective when he was one step behind at the end of the movie, you know?
Mhm.
When he was one step behind and he was like, oh shit, like I have to catch up now. And then he used his smarts again. And it just really showed like how willing and how amazing Batman is as a character when someone really like gets their hands dirty with it and really really tries to delve into the character of Batman. Not just
Mhm.
Batman with the
Right.
with the music behind it.
Yeah. Question:
Right. Mhm.
how do y'all feel about like his personality changing in like future movies? Do you think that he has to almost get to the point where Ben Affleck was, where he's thinking of like contingency plans for Superman? Like, I'm not saying that they're gonna ever do those Superman like combination or collaborations and stuff, but what I'm saying is, do you think that he needs to get to a mindset where he's almost like, I need to worry about things more? Like, I don't know. I didn't feel like he was a puppy dog in this one. I don't feel like he was like that, but I just feel like he had certain vulnerabilities that eventually he's gonna have to weed out.
He's
Um, but this is year two, so I
Yeah,
can't be too crucial
exactly.
on it,
he's
you know.
he's still very young, and that's something I was gonna say. Like, I think a lot of the quote unquote, I don't even think they're problems because it's a year two Batman, but like
Yeah, that's
a
what
lot
I
of
mean.
people want to see like the mythical Batman, like Batman with his batarangs and like Robin and like a fully mature Batman who's super serious. Like he knows everything in the book. He's not gonna make a mistake when he does detective work. Like even his Batmobile is like this is super amazing. It's like no, this is his second year. It's like Batman has been Batman for like 15 years, and it's something I would like to talk about a little bit later is the direction they can go with it. I think we're going to see the more Playboy Bruce Wayne. We're going to see more of those gadgets that we really recognize. We're going to see a Batsuit that's a little bit more comic book maybe because or not even comic book but like more of like he is going to get bigger physically. Some people were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's not big." It's like, maybe not right now because he's broken, but eventually he's going to maybe fight a character like Bane and he's going to realize I got to beef up and maybe he even gets like some stubble on his beard, like he's gonna get to that point where he's a very rough man. And yeah, you're right. Maybe Alex, or Shawn, he's gonna eventually get to contingency plans. He's gonna get to the point where he has no patience, he has no remorse. Maybe it's part of the development of the character. And not just Batman. I wanted to mention this, but what do you guys think of the second protagonist, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman? Like she was very
Oh
important.
yeah.
She wasn't just like a side character. She was very, very important. I don't know. With some thoughts.
Sean, I see that smile on your face, man. Just go ahead.
Listen, man. As soon as I saw that she'd been cast as Catwoman, I kind of understood like what they wanted to do with it. Bro, she was really good. Um,
She was great. Yeah.
I feel like we saw a different version of Catwoman
Mhm.
because usually Catwoman is like, I don't know, like super
Flirty
playful and
stuff,
yeah, and
yeah.
super flirty. But this one is more of like you can tell like she hadn't been Catwoman for very long either. I mean, obviously she was good at being a cat burglar and stuff, and she was working at the lounge. Um, but yeah, we saw more of like you know,
An actual person who's going through something
exactly,
very difficult. She cared about
exactly.
her sister figure or whoever, Annika,
Yeah, her friend, yeah, Monica.
Mhm.
friend, whatnot. And it was like, and obviously she realizes that these corrupt people, they also ruin her life and everything. She lost her mother to her own father, who was a terrible person.
Mhm.
It's like as one of you guys mentioned, is like, Catwoman is usually seen as this like very flirtatious, romantic interest that kind of challenges the hero because she's kind of like this gray figure. But no, this time it's like, no, there's a reason and a motivation why she's so broken and gray. She doesn't believe in Gotham saving itself. She even said the end of the movie really puts that coin of Batman will stay in Gotham. He believes no matter how hard it is, he will save it. And Catwoman's like, these people are not worth the trouble. These
She said,
people
"I'm
are
outta
not
here."
worth the pain. So even if she returns to Gotham, which she will, I'm guaranteed she's coming back in the sequels. She's only going back because to take advantage of the chaos. She doesn't believe in these people. She doesn't believe in Gotham. And you can't blame her. Like other interpretations, like, oh, she's just selfish. Here is like, after everything she's been through.
Yeah, I agree, man. This Catwoman was top tier. I mean, aside from the fact that it was the lovely Zoe Kravitz, she just we talked about actually in our chat that she just like, she kind of, at least for me, she kind of personifies, I guess, what Catwoman would be, at least in my opinion. Like, she's just like, some people are just like meant to play roles, you know what I mean? And I think she's like Catwoman, like for real, like in her everyday life, she strikes me as that, and she nailed it. It was great. And just like you said, Adrian, like the complexity of the character, the fact that she was struggling, like because I don't know if she was really teetering on whether she should be good or she should be bad. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Yeah.
But you can tell that she was having like this struggle inside her to really, hold on to something. Like it felt like everything in her life was just like slipping away. Like her mom died, now her friend dies, and then she lets go of her relationship with Batman. So then I guess that kind of helps us understand now, and that's what I really liked about this movie in terms of characters. It gave us a why. Like, why are characters the way that they are? And
Exactly.
this movie did a great job of doing that. And yeah, Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz did a great job.
Yeah, to jump off of Catwoman now to Riddler, Paul Dano's Riddler. I mean,
Oof. Oh my god.
like he's Riddler's to some people a fantastic choice because of the mental challenges, and he really did, like, obviously, like he even said himself, like, oh, I'm not gonna do any change. I'm not physical. Everything's up here. It's like he's so, man. I think Paul Dano did a great job. I thought he was crazy, man.
Amazing.
Like he really nailed this like mentally disturbing figure in this film. And my goodness, man, it's like,
it was scary at times. I was like, dude, this guy's like, like when he would like in the call with the DA who he put the phone to his hand and stuff, that scene where the bomb was ticking down and he was giving him 3 riddles, I was like, this guy is freaking crazy, man.
It's disturbing because it's one of those situations where, unlike, let's say, Avengers or Justice League, like, oh, big bomb, or like, oh, this big super beam, it's like, no, wait for a second, hold up, there could be a crazy guy out there who's gonna put a bomb on someone's neck and force you to call them and like answer his stupid game. It's like, it's not that this will happen, forbid it, but it can happen. It's like, that's the scary part. It's like, man, like, this can't happen, especially if someone is that determined to rid corruption. At the same time, you're kind of like in conflict, like, man, this person, though he's trying to kill, is not a good person.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
I thought, honestly, like, at certain points, you really did feel how like angry he was. Like, even in the call, I don't know if y'all remember towards the end of the movie, where he was calling on the followers, right? Remember when he was like, okay, I'm gonna be locked up probably by this point in time. Like, his laughing was so menacing. That whole scene where Batman comes back to Arkham and Riddler's in his I think it's his cell or something. When he's talking to him and he's like, this isn't how it was supposed to go, bro. I think that scene right there did it for me. That scene did it for me because I was like, okay, yeah, like, this is really the Riddler. Like, he's crazy, and the way that Paul did his enactment of Riddler is just amazing, man. Like, we haven't seen one like that. We haven't seen a menacing Riddler. I mean, we saw Jim Carrey's version, which was really funny, and I feel like it was pretty charismatic. But
Yeah, but
Um,
to the degree of like this, where it's
yeah,
like this is a Zodiac serial killer who
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
demented his ways of puzzle games, and
mhm,
it's kind of even tragic. It's like you have a person who is so intellectually smart, using their knowledge to do these terrible puzzles, but at the same time, you're like, man, but at the end of the day, he thinks he's doing something good because he is exposing corrupted people,
mhm.
you know, and he's also saying like there's not going to be a change of this corruption, at least not with talking, and even if I expose it, there was no change. He's like, it doesn't matter if you vote for this really genuine good person in Gotham who's genuinely trying to save Gotham, like Gotham will be run by the corrupt, and the only way for us to realize this is if I demonstrate quote unquote a real change, which is for him flooding the city, which is also symbolic. He's literally flooding Gotham with pressure and determination. And I also felt like for a second when all those other Riddlers showed up and he kind of evoked them to team up, and I saw those messages, I swear for a second I'm like, this is very, I think, reflective of real life society, because there has been situations where people plan something. I felt a little bit even political, even like, man, yeah, there are sick people out there who they feel that to get their voice heard, they will harm other people in that way. But you also question like what led to this point. It wasn't just crazy people. It was like, man, something led to this tragedy of an event. It's like this was a domestic terrorist event.
Yeah,
Really got me
The
questioning.
scariest thing about this movie is that there were no powers.
exactly.
They use things that people can get their hands on today and do today. You just need a little internet. Like, it's
Yep.
very frightening, man. It's very frightening.
It was, man, and this just I think this is one of just the main like things that I took away from this movie is that like, and I know it's a bit of a cliche when everyone says it, but like it was so real, like it was, and because exactly like you said, Adrian, like, and Shawn, that this could happen. Like this wasn't like, Superman shooting laser beams out of his eyes and just killing 1,000 aliens and that's it. We go home. It's like this is a real problem and things that have happened. Like corrupt politicians, right? Corrupt police force, right? Serial killers that are able to amass a group of people together to do their bidding. These are things that have happened throughout history, right? And it's just so crazy how they did this, man. And Batman didn't even have to get all crazy with his, because sometimes like in the animated series or whatever, you'll see Batman do some crazy Batman things, like throwing 3 batarangs at once while
Yeah.
throwing 5 smoke bombs and whatever. But here it was like it was so like intellectual. Like I think the best part for me was just like the cat and mouse game between the Batman and the Riddler. That was the best part of the whole movie for me. Was that
Definitely.
it was amazing. It was amazing.
It definitely felt like Seven, like Seven Deadly Sins with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. If you haven't seen that movie, please go see it. Especially if you like this one, you're gonna love that one. Um, but yeah, man, I saw shades of that, shades of like Saw movies. Like, bro, this was this was amazing.
It was like a psychological thriller, no? Right, Shawn? You think?
Exactly. That's
Right?
exactly what this was, and it just had Batman to like season up a little bit.
It was what a great movie, man. What a great movie.
And
Well, what'd you guys think of onto another character, Penguin, man? Colin Farrell, bro.
surprised me. I thought he was gonna be like a 5-minute cameo, but no, he was, man. The actor who played him, phenomenal acting and transformation. If you look at how he actually looks like, he looks nothing like how
Yeah,
Penguin
Colin
looks.
Farrell looks nothing like that.
Yeah, Colin Farrell. I mean, and and it's just, I mean, yeah. There's when you think about it, almost every character in this movie was done right. Like we haven't even talked about Jim Gordon and his
Oh my
relationship
god,
between him and
amazing.
Batman, and just I felt a genuine good cop in him. Like I felt even the other cop, Martinez, like he was just a good cop.
Yeah,
And he was angry at Batman at first, but it was like because he was just trying to do his job, and he's like skeptical. The process of Batman, the cops don't trust Batman, just Gordon, but by the end of the movie you feel the cops trusting him slowly, like they know he's a good man, they know he's a good detective, he's trying to actually help out. Even like the bad people like Falcone, and not just Falcone, but like all these corrupt victims, you felt like, man, these are scumbags. You know, like everyone was played so well, and there's so much character, there's so much depth and humanity to them. They don't feel like a cardboard cutout of like just
Yep.
move the plot. They feel like this could be a real person in real life. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it is insane to me that we got that, and I never felt for a movie that was 3 hours long. It didn't feel long to me. I know some people. I've heard some of my friends say this movie's great, but it is very long. And then I even have my little brother who's actually the opposite. He's like, man, this movie was too short for me. I needed to see more. It's crazy.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
The movie was long, but it wasn't, there was no slack in the movie. Like there was
Yeah.
nothing that was shot in the movie that you can be like, oh, we didn't need that. We needed everything. And honestly, when, hopefully the 4 or 5 hour episode or, version of this comes out, I wonder what they really cut out. Because the way Matt Reeves did this, there's so much that he could, add, even to this version of the script. But yeah, man, if I had to say if I felt it was long or short, I felt like it was just right. I felt it was a little long,
Right.
but it needed to be.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
even with people who were like, man, this movie felt long. It was like, but at the same time, we thought about it, it was like, you know what? But you can't cut out any scenes from it.
Yeah.
It's like every scene felt necessary. There wasn't a minute where you were like, like I'm bored here, like just waiting to see.
Yeah.
I've seen it 3 times. Like I said, it was like, I was like, you know what? Like the only part you can cut out, and even then you can't because it's like so much fun to watch, is the Batmobile car chase. And I'm like, you can't cut that out because the Batmobile is like such an amazing scene. I mean, when I heard that engine, just
Oh yeah.
oh my gosh, and the theater was shaking with it. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, oh my lord, there it is. I love that.
This is one of those you got to see in Dolby.
I have
It's
seen
not
it.
IMAX.
I didn't see it, man, in Dolby. I didn't see it. I'm going to. But speaking about the ending, the movie is long, but that's because it ties up all the loose ends.
Mhm.
Like there's no slack, like you guys said. Like there were times where in my head, because we're so used to like the typical like structure of a movie, I was like, oh, okay, it's probably gonna end here. And then they go and bring something back that I forgot like earlier in the movie. I was like, oh, okay. And it did that for so many different things, and I was like, man, this is an amazing movie. An amazing movie.
They definitely pulled out Chekhov's gun. Anything you see, it's there for a reason. Down
Exactly.
from the very beginning, like even for example, the one time they showed it the first time when he uses his chest logo, which is a his actual first battering. He uses to just cut tape. He uses it again to save, and it was symbolic. I guess we could jump into the themes of the movie. I thought like when he was removing it the last time, and the music was crescendoing. I knew he wasn't gonna die. Nobody, everyone knew Batman's not gonna die, but to me, it was like he's letting go of vengeance for hope for Gotham. Because the whole theme of the movie is vengeance does not solve anything. I mean, if you look at the beginning of the movie, he did it his own way that he's been doing it for 2 years. But people are just terrified of him. There's no fixing Gotham. He actually says crime is up and robberies are up and everything is going worse. But then at the end of the movie, especially that emotional scene of just like for a moment, there's a flood, but he is the beacon of light. He is hope. It's red though. It's not like Superman. It's still red because it's filled with anger and pain. But he's still the light and the hope, and he leads people with him. And even at the end, when he's bringing a girl up the helicopter, it's daytime. Batman in daytime. It usually that doesn't work, but Batman in daytime with the sun and just seeing a girl actually hold on to Batman for reassurance. It's like wow. Batman. One of my friends mentioned this, and I have to stress this. A lot of superhero movies these days is always about a good guy and a bad guy fighting, about their conflict. But this movie really showed Batman at the end of the movie. He's saving people. He is actually a hero trying to lead them. It was like that is so powerful, especially because he's such a broken person. It's like a human being can do this. It's crazy. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Of course. It's good.
No, go ahead, Shawn. Go ahead.
You're fine, bro. You can go.
Man, just the themes of the movie is like I think, like you said, Adrian. But you know what's a theme of the movie that I really liked? That the hero didn't win. You know, like, because if you really think about it, the Riddler did what he wanted to do. He flooded the city. He probably killed a bunch of people, you know, and brought obvious, you know, turmoil to a bunch of people's lives. But within that chaos and within that turmoil, what happens? Batman didn't just like jump ship, you know, and I think that point in the movie when they're in the Gotham Square Garden, when they're in the Gotham Square Garden and you know everything's flooding and he's hanging on and then he cuts it off and then he cuts off the rope. Like I feel like that was for me that was like the climax of the movie. I was like, whoa, okay, like this is where he proves himself to these people, where he proves himself to the cops, where he proves himself to Mayor Real and everyone. And again, it just goes back to the why. Like you know, why does everyone trust Batman? Like, why does everyone love Batman? You know, and we can see that early on in his career, he was able to do these things that heroes with powers, you know, that they can just do with the snap of a finger. He's willing to put his body on the line and do it. And after he cut the wire and he fell into the water, what did he do? He got his little flare, went out to help some more people, and then after it was just amazing, man. I just love how within like the L that he took, because it was an L, okay. The Riddler handed him an L. He said, "Okay, that's fine. I'll take it on the chin. But now I'm gonna help the city that I love so much. And within that, I'm not gonna go for vengeance anymore. I'm not vengeance. Now I'm a beacon of hope. You know that it was amazing, man. It was amazing. That was my favorite theme of the movie.
It put a bow on it. I feel like the whole like vengeance thing. I think he realized that when you say that you're vengeance, it inspires everybody else to get the revenge. You see what I'm saying? And there is a constant cycle that doesn't end. But when you're hope, it's completely different. And I think that Gotham needed that versus vengeance. You know, everybody can seek vengeance. Everybody wants to seek vengeance, but the hope and the spark that you know illuminates the way for others is definitely what Batman needed to be. And I definitely think he showed that towards the end of the movie, even towards the beginning, really, but there wasn't an audience for it, you know. But yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that scene where the young lady's going into the lift or the helicopter and she grabs onto him. I was like, man, that it was like they didn't have to say anything, but you just like it was really like it was so powerful. I was like, man, that really says like what this past 2 hours and 40 minutes of the movie led up to, like right there, like that moment.
Yeah.
It was awesome, bro. And Matt Reeves, amazing job, did amazing.
Okay.
Amazing. Agree.
Yep.
So I don't know, guys. Like, any closing thoughts for our pod for this one? I mean,
Man, what you guys think a sequel is possible?
oh, it's probably gonna happen. And I think Matt Reeves has said that he wanted Mr. Freeze to be the next villain.
Mr. Freeze. Oh my gosh, I wanted that so bad.
I think he said he. I think they're anticipating that. I think there's speculation that Mr. Freeze is the one to go with. He stressed that it's not gonna be Joker. I know that there was that whole cameo with Joker, but
Yeah.
that's more of just like there because like you gotta have Joker here and there rather than like, oh yeah, Joker's gonna be the main bad guy. You know.
Exactly.
Well, what did you guys? Sorry, Sean. Just before we get our closing thoughts, what did you guys think of Alfred in this one?
I wanted more of him. If I could say what's a little bit of a problem I have with the movie, I wish there was at least one more scene with him because I felt the tension. I felt the whole Bruce and Alfred having problems, but I also felt that Bruce was starting to accept Alfred as his father figure for now. I actually was dreading seeing Alfred with the envelope. Like I'm
Oh
like
my
Alfred,
God.
buddy, like throw it away. Don't
my
turn. Like
God.
it's like.
Yeah.
But I really wish there was just a little bit more of Alfred. I loved how the Andy Serkis presented a very worried parental figure to Bruce, even though he denies it, and someone who clearly cares about Bruce. And man, I just wish there was at least one or two more scenes with him.
I bought it. Like I bought the whole relationship they had. I just don't know if we had enough time, exactly what Adrian said, to really understand that relationship. I feel like they've done it better in, I think, The Dark Knights. Bruce and Alfred kind of were better, but that's only because I think we had more time with them.
Exactly. Yeah.
and the final one kind of really tried to develop that relationship they had. And I feel like there was so much that was happening that you couldn't really focus on like developing them in terms of their relationship. But yeah, I did think it was pretty good. But I just feel like there's always something that you could, do better in certain movies. And I feel like this was something that maybe they could have done a little bit better. But at the same time, we're getting a good movie. So I really don't know, man. I don't know. Can we talk about Falcone?
Yes.
Can we?
Yeah, man.
Bro, I feel like John Turturro did a great job as Falcone, bro. Like, I'm not going to lie to you.
That was awesome.
I just hope we're not wasting him on Falcone. Even though Falcone is a big character, I feel like when they bring in Ra's al Ghul, I feel like he could have done that, if I'm honest with you.
Really?
I just feel like he's such a funny person in real life. I just feel like in Falcone, he was definitely a dirtbag. Like, you could tell he was a dirtbag, man. Yeah. And he did a really, really good job.
He did.
But yeah.
He did do a really good job. And actually, just I don't know why this Alfred thing is just like on my mind. What do you guys think of like more like because this Alfred was like more emotional, no? A little bit like because the Michael Caine Alfred, he was like, fucking freaking Michael Caine, he didn't get like super flustered or anything like that from what I can remember. But this Alfred was like he was not like he didn't really hold back on Bruce. He was, he would give it to him.
He was like, oh, you're becoming quite a celebrity, but he doesn't say it in a good way. He looks at him with these eyes, and he's like, "What did he write to you?" It's like kind of like your dad or like even like your mom being like, "What's wrong with you? Like this is what you wanted? Like stop, right?" And even the moment where like Bruce walks away, Alfred looks at the recording with which by the way, genius use of like Batman's gadgetry, but the contact lenses, and he sees the boy sad. And then Alfred, you could see he just looks down because he knows that Bruce saw that kid and felt the pain again. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, man. There's just moments like that. Or even Alfred just being like, oh, I'm going to help Bruce win in his case. Again, actions speak louder than words. It's not Alfred trying to say that, oh, I care about you, Bruce. It's like, you know what? I care about him enough that I will help him on the case, and things like that. And it's just, you felt it when eventually he got in trouble and that bombing happened,
Yeah, it was a good take on Alfred, in my opinion, and I think it was perfectly casted for that type of Alfred that they were trying to go for. And, man, just all around, I think if I were to say one thing about this movie, it would be more Alfred. Maybe we get that in the 4 to 5 hour cut, Shawn. You never know.
Yeah, maybe.
I
would expect that, to be honest with you. I would expect that.
More Alfred and honestly, maybe a little more Falcone. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like we didn't get at the end. It started to pick up, but I feel like maybe at the beginning of the movie could have showed up a little bit more. I don't know, but that's just me. But maybe. Yeah.
What do you think about the gadgets? I just felt like his, in terms of Batman, I feel like everything was put where it needed to be, and we weren't given too much of everything, which I think was perfect. Even when he took off the little bomb off of his suit to put on the, I think it was the fire extinguisher towards like the end.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That was great. People have been speculating.
What?
A little adrenaline booster. It was green. People were like,
"Oh, the Bane!
Is that Bane? Like, is eventually Bane gonna grab a whole load of that and just like, finally we're gonna get a big Bane, because respect to Tom Hardy's Bane, fantastic, and he got really big for that role. But some people we want to see comical Bane, and I can start going to the theories about what the movies can go like if they're gonna introduce Scarecrow.
I think that, man. Oof. Oh my god!
Y'all don't think that was just adrenaline?
It could have. I tell my friends also like that could have just been adrenaline. Like I don't think we're gonna look too forward.
I saw.
I thought that was amazing though, because we've never seen that. We've never seen the whole I'm hurt, I literally can't move, but then I'm gonna use adrenaline and I'm gonna get back up, because that would only make sense because of all the stuff that he goes through, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
and
that
they could definitely go with that.
It was a nice touch.
And
So yeah, no, go ahead, Adrian.
no, yeah, I just wanted to give this thought. Like these movies, they go very realistic, very, very realistic, and I like that. I really do. But like for some people, they like comical Batman, where it's like Clayface and Mister Freeze and Killer Croc. And I was saying, like, wouldn't it be cool if like you have, let's say, Killer Croc is just a cannibal with a skin disease, and Clayface is just a guy who could just melt his face because he has a skin condition. And Bane is just a strong guy. But then you introduce Scarecrow, and when he gasses Batman, we see like there's big Bane when Batman's like affected by the gas, and Killer Croc is a massive like alligator character. It's like that is the best way I think you can introduce like comical aspects of Batman without taking away from realism. You know,
like different takes, right? Like it's like a different take, but at the same time, it's not. Because they're human, but there's like some sort of problem with them or some sort of like they did that in oh my god, there's this one like Mortal Kombat piece of media that I forgot where they basically did that, like within the realism they showed like the things that we know them best for, you know. Like I think that would be a great route to take, you know. I would love to see Freeze, Scarecrow. Oh my god, that would be freaking crazy, man. If it was anything,
I really want to see Freeze, man.
Oh my god,
like we haven't really seen him. Like we saw him in like the very, very old version of Batman.
Joel Schumacher is a Batman and Robin, but that movie is known to be a funny movie. You know, like stinker.
I think we need to see Poison Ivy.
Oh,
maybe Poison Ivy too.
We haven't seen her. You know,
nice.
There's so much potential these next movies could have.
I'm excited.
Did you hear about the show?
What's up?
The shows that he wants to do, Matt Reeves wants to do.
Oh my god!
Oh, I believe
like the Gotham PD,
like
the Gotham PD and the Arkham one. I think they want to go ahead and do the Arkham version, and they want to wait on the Gotham PD. That was going to be like Batman version, or not. It's not going to be about Batman, but it's going to take place in the timeline from, I think, Batman Year One. So like you kind of hear about him and stuff like that, but I don't think you'd really see him too much.
Yeah.
But
right.
But yeah, I think that's what timeline they wanted to do with it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot they kind of want to do with this.
So many possibilities, Shawn. There's so many possibilities, dude.
There's a lot, man.
This got me excited, man. This got me excited. And also, I'm sure you guys saw the little previews of like their little phase that they're putting out. What do you guys think of that? Just to touch on that really quick.
There's a lot of DC. I feel DC is a little confusing because after this movie, it's like, wait, we're still getting Flashpoint with a Michael Keaton, possibly Ben Affleck Batman. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah,
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, they had what was it, Adrian? I don't know if you remember. It was Flashpoint,
Aquaman, the Fallen, or the Kingdom.
Aquaman, yeah, then Adam.
Black Adam.
Yeah, so nothing too crazy. I mean, I wasn't really jumping out of my seat for it, you know, because I was so psyched on this Batman movie. But I mean, it's something interesting for sure. I think this just goes to show Batman carries the DC universe in terms of the cinematic.
Oh, definitely. On the cinematic skill, absolutely.
In terms of cinematic skill, this is like the best we've had. Like even when you compare it to like Marvel's, like
this felt like a
cinematic masterpiece.
Not cinematic. It felt like cinema.
This was a movie, a movie. This wasn't like Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Paul Rudd. This was like a movie that was riveting, that was emotional. It was, man, when DC does it right, man, they do it right.
Practical effects.
Exactly. Really I was happy to see that. I was like, man, I don't know. Maybe there was some CGI that kind of went over my head. If there was, I wasn't really paying attention to it. Maybe in the car chase, I don't know. But
probably. Or even in the car chase, like they used a real life car. I'm like, you don't really get that these days.
Yeah. So listen, if they do like a trilogy, and let's say the Joker was in the third one, right? I need it to be rated R. Like I can't do a PG-13 with the Joker in it. I can, but I really don't want to see that.
This wasn't
rated R. I want to see Joker killing people, man. Like I really want to see it.
This movie wasn't rated R?
No, it was rated PG-13.
Really?
Barely
Wow.
PG.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Barely.
notice.
This movie's so disturbing.
It was.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm kind of surprised. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. It was really dark for PG-13. I think it was amazing. Like,
Bro, I would not
such a
want
great film.
any 13-year-old watching this movie, man. It's very
What?
I don't know, it's such a serious
Mhm.
serious movie, and I'm just so happy that it was like a movie. That's what I was thinking throughout the whole thing. I was like, wow, like this is a good like movie. Like I could take Batman out and put like a random person in, and it would still be just like
It would still work, yeah. If you just
Exactly.
get a regular detective who just knows martial arts.
exactly, which I'm sure you can
And in
find
the
on the
beginning-
street corner.
Exactly. And in the beginning, as soon as you saw like Riddler beat the shit out of the mayor, I was like, okay, I'm good. This is gonna be good. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be terrifying. So I don't know, man.
That opening
They can
scene
do what they
man,
want to do.
was just
Honestly, when you think about it, it was darker than Joker was, in my opinion.
That's
The Joker
interesting.
had that one moment when he like literally
When he
killed
shot
the people in
Robert
his
De Niro?
house. Well, yeah, and he did that. Yeah, that too. but yeah, man, I just feel like this one was pretty gripping.
It was, man. It was everything I would have wanted from a Batman movie. Not gonna lie to you. This is what I've been searching for so long. I finally found it.
Yeah.
But darker than Joker, I think only because of those two scenes that we mentioned, it kind of puts it over Batman a little bit. Only because of those two scenes.
I jumped the gun a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It is possible, by the way, that in the 4 hour, if they will release a 4 hour cut, which who knows, that the 4 hour cut is rated R. So you never know.
It'd be amazing.
But that seems to be it, fellas. That seems to be our thoughts.
Yeah. You guys have any closing words that you'd like to throw out there?
Nah, just that, man. We're looking forward to seeing whatever is next for Batman. Like there's gonna be a lot of speculation, but I think they are gonna take their time before a sequel comes out. I do not think the sequel's coming out next year, maybe not even the year after. But
Yeah.
gotta look forward to it.
Hopefully they like account for that in the storyline, and they understand that it's been some time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So maybe that gives him an opportunity to be like a more mature Batman, right?
Yeah.
Like we've seen.
Like he has some time under his belt, he's matured a little bit, and maybe he's not peak Batman yet, but he's well on his way there, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
All right, guys.
nothing from me.
Sounds goody.
Yeah. All
So
right,
you
guys.
guys ready?
Yep.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, that was the 5th episode of the House of Reels podcast. Hope you liked it. You can catch it on Spotify, YouTube. So yeah, we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Peace.